Hey, hi, hello. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Psilly Talk podcast. I'm your host, Shally, and on this podcast, we talk about all things mindset, mushrooms, wellness, and personal development. Today's episode is going to be all about how to get the most out of your experience after you've taken mushrooms. In my opinion, the most important part of taking mushrooms is what you do with the information you learned when you were microdosing or macrodosing. Basically, integrating your experience, because you can have this incredible experience while you're on mushrooms. Like you had all these epiphanies and realize a lot of things and whatnot, and then you just go on about your life after it and just do nothing about it, and it's a waste. It's like your whole experience was for not necessarily that it was for nothing, but there's so much that you could have done with everything you learned to move forward in life. Essentially, mushrooms aren't just a one-time fix where you do them and then all of your problems just go away. Like, I wish it was like that, but that's not how it is. Mushrooms are teachers. They teach you how to heal yourself and they guide you down that path. So if you just take them and you don't do anything with that new information you learned, you like, all right, you had a silly time, right? But think of the gym. It's like going hard in the gym for a week and then just never going to the gym again and going right back to your unhealthy habits and then wondering why you haven't lost weight or gained any muscle. Going to the gym for a week isn't going to change your body. It's not going to change your life. You have to keep going. Like you have to keep doing it. And over time, the new healthy habits that you've learned from going to the gym or the new workout techniques you've learned, you keep learning those and integrating those into your next experience. And that's how it compounds over time. And then you get buff or you lose weight. You know what I mean? Healing is a journey. It's a process, and you have to give yourself the time and space to literally process all of this new insight, all this new information that you've gained about yourself. So a couple of years ago, when I was heavy in my macrodosing mushroom journey, I took a lot of mushrooms and went to the beach with my cousin, and we were just having the best time ever. It was so much fun, whatnot. And I can't remember exactly what I set the intention for that trip, but I know I was just like, I was kind of feeling stuck in life around that time in my life. And I just wanted to know what I was supposed to do next, right? Like I'm not necessarily the type of person where I think like there's one thing you do for your whole life and that's it. It's like, no, like what do I want to explore more now? Like what am I passionate about now? Because we have many passions and many talents and many interests. And like, what am I passionate about now? And like, what do I want to explore more now? Right. So like that was kind of the theme of my life at that time. And I remember on this mushroom trip that I had this whole epiphany breakthrough that my voice and my authentic self was being suppressed. Like literally from when I was a child, I always got in trouble for talking a lot. And I always got in trouble for like almost like shamed for being myself and being my authentic self and being told like, you're being too much, you're doing too much. And like, I'm not doing anything wrong to anybody else. I'm just like being my quirky, unique self, right? Culturally, being a dark-skinned Black woman, I was always told to like be on my best behavior. Do not be seen as too much or too loud or this and that. And like, I hated that so much. It was honestly so ridiculous. And then I'm Jamaican. So in the Jamaican culture is very authoritative parenting, very much like kids are supposed to be seen, not heard. Luckily, I'm a Jamaican, like Jamaican American. I wasn't born in Jamaica. So that parenting style is kind of faded throughout the generations of my family, but it was still pretty prevalent. Like as a kid, just not kind of being shamed for being yourself and just being a wacky like kid. And then societally, as women, we're literally taught to be timid and quiet and compliant and fuck that. Are you kidding me? That's so crazy. So I was just going up against all these odds and I just wanted to speak and talk and just be myself and just live and not be shamed or ridiculed for it. So when I had this realization during my macrodose trip, I was just so excited because all during that time, I remember I was like, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to talk my shit, like, but respectfully, like literally respectfully be myself. Somebody being themselves and being their authentic self and speaking their truth doesn't have to be offensive. It could just be you just being true to yourself. And we're just taught on so many levels that that's not okay. And that was so deeply ingrained in me for so long. And that all came up. And it's so crazy because, like I said, at that time, I was feeling kind of like, oh, where am I going to go in life? What am I going to do? Whatever. And because this was 2021. And if we all know 2021 was a crazy year, it was just, I don't know, that year was like, it was like a vortex in its own. And so I was really happy that I came to this realization because I felt it deep down in my soul that my purpose in life or like what I wanted to be doing next in my life was linked to me using my voice and being my authentic self. Now, after that huge epiphany, if I had just went back to trying to hide my true self and fit into this proper box that society wanted me to fit into, I wouldn't be here right now talking to you on my own podcast. I literally made it a point after that incredible mushroom experience to do things and put myself in situations that forced me to use my voice and express my authentic self. And that is how my content creation journey started. I literally just wanted to be me, and what better way to practice that than on the internet in front of a bunch of people that you don't even know? Because honestly, sometimes when you're trying, more times than not, when you're changing yourself and you're trying to become a better or new version of yourself, the people around you who knew you as this old version of yourself are gonna kind of still hold you to that standard. Like, what do you mean this is how you are now and how you're trying to be now? And it kind of can create some sort of resistance. So as I started to post online in front of people who I didn't know, so when they saw me, they just saw me showing up as this person. They're like, oh yeah, this is who she is. She's just herself. She's confident. She's funny. She's this and that. It wasn't like, oh, you didn't used to be like that before. Why are you? I wasn't faced with that. So I found content creation and posting videos online to be the easiest barrier of entry for me to practice being my authentic self. As wild as that sounds. But clearly it worked out, and I'm so grateful that I did that. There's many other ways to integrate your mushroom experience. You don't have to just rip the Band-Aid off like I did and take that huge leap. You can do baby steps. One of my favorite ways is journaling. Journaling your mushroom experience is something I highly, highly, highly recommend. Journaling unlocks areas of your subconscious mind that you didn't even know existed, and it helps you to process your thoughts so much more easily. All these thoughts are in your head, and they're like scrambled up and jumbled up in your head, and then you get them out and put them on paper, and then when it's on paper, you can see them, and you're like, oh, wait, this makes a little bit more sense now that I've written it out. And it's journaling, it's just crazy. It's an incredible, crazy experience, and when you really get into journaling, you don't even necessarily have to use prompts. Like, you can just write. Like, if you're just feeling something and you like something that you would normally speak and express and say to somebody, you can literally just write it, and I'm telling you, the words will just flow. And journaling has just helped me so much in my healing journey in general, but especially with integrating my mushroom experience. Another method that you can do is meditating or praying. Depending on whatever your spiritual practice is or what your religion is, speaking to yourself, speaking to God, speaking to the universe, whatever you do, it's just so amazing. It's so freeing, and it's so, you don't feel alone, and it's just such a great way to integrate your mushroom experience. Like I said before, mushrooms are a very spiritually intuned healing plant medicine. It's literally going to help connect you to yourself, everybody around you, nature, the world, the universe. And so praying and meditating is just incredible to do while you're on mushrooms, while you're microdosing, while you're macrodosing, or after. You could also just do a good old cry sesh. It's honestly so necessary sometimes. So your mushroom trip might have brought up some sad emotions that have been repressed in you for years that need to be released. And what better way to release them than crying? Even screaming, not at somebody else, but just like getting those emotions out. Crying is literally a release that helps to calm down our body. That's like when you see a baby get hurt, and not even really hurt. They just like kind of fell a little bit, and they cry and scream for like literally 2 minutes, and then they're fine because they just needed to release that emotion. So think of all of those years that you were sad or angry about stuff, and you literally never cried or talked about it. All of those emotions are still stuck in your body, and you need to get them out. So baby, cry, grab your pillow, scream into it, cry, do the damn thing. Cause then I promise you, you'll feel so much better after. Every time after I have like a good old cry sesh, like whether I'm on mushrooms or having an epiphany off of it, I'm just like, yeah, I'm that bitch. Like after I'm done, I feel so much better. It's so necessary, I promise. Another amazing thing to do is just to create, literally creating, painting, drawing, creating music, etc. There's a reason why some of the best art and music in the world was created after an intense psychedelic trip. These artists were able to transmute their pain into something so beautiful that was able to heal themselves. And then they took that art, released it to the world, and it helped to heal millions of people, all from a psychedelic trip. Are you joking? That's incredible. So many songs that you don't even know about. There's so many videos that I've created specifically online because I had an epiphany while I was tripping or after I was tripping, and I posted it online, and so many people were like, wow, I needed to hear this. It's helped me so much. And like, it was about a personal experience with me, but me figuring that out and realizing like what I went through and how to feel better, and then relaying that online so other people could see it. Literally, it was like a ripple effect around the world because I just created art. It's honestly incredible. And then it just feels so good. It feels so good to create and just express yourself, especially when it comes to healing. And then one of the more common ways is literally just to talk to somebody you trust. And also make sure that person has empathy. Like, not everybody is a good person to talk to about your emotions, especially if they're not necessarily an emotional person. So definitely make sure that they're more empathetic. So whether that be a close friend, a family member, a life coach, or even your therapist, it's important that you express yourself and your emotions as they come up rather than letting them continue to fester inside of you. I feel like people think mushrooms and therapy are two opposite methods of healing and they don't mix, but I honestly think they go together so well. A lot of people are scared to go to therapy. Like they have such a stigma against therapy. They think it's for crazy people, or they think they'll be judged or shamed, or some people genuinely are just afraid of being vulnerable. Like they were never given the space or the tools to be vulnerable with their emotions, and they have no idea how to talk about their emotions without getting really angry or really sad. And a lot of people do not like experiencing sad emotions or don't like just going through the motions in general. And the thing about mushrooms is they help to take those negative emotions, those sad emotions, those repressed emotions that have been deep inside your body, deep inside your subconscious mind, and bring them to the forefront in a way that's so much less scary. So you're not necessarily scared to confront them, scared to feel them, scared to think about them and process them. It's like they bring it out of your mind, they bring it out of your body, and then you're like, oh, okay, well that's not as bad as I thought, or I could see, how I could go about this in a different way. And then you literally start to see your own problems and issues that you've been scared of, that have been inside of you for literally years, some people decades. And you start to see them from a new light, and you're just like, oh, okay, so like let me go about it like this, or I could talk about this, whether to myself or to somebody else. Like this is actually okay. Doing mushrooms actually helped me to feel more comfortable with going to therapy and talking about my feelings. Like I know I had issues before. Well, I didn't even realize that I had all these deep-seated issues until I started to do mushrooms. But like even in the beginning of my mushroom journey, I hadn't gone to therapy or anything like that yet because it just was not normalized. It was not normalized in my family. And I'm so grateful that it's becoming more normalized in our society because therapy just was not. So it just really wasn't even an option for me. It's funny how I started doing mushrooms first before I started going to a therapist, but it worked out. It really worked out because doing mushrooms, like I said, helped me to feel more comfortable with even processing my emotions and being vulnerable with myself and with my emotions. And then finding the best therapist ever to talk to me about my emotions that I already feel comfortable talking about. It made therapy honestly so much better and more effective in my opinion. And honestly, while traditional therapy can sometimes leave someone stuck in the past, kind of just ruminating on past things they went through and old stories and like victimizing themselves and things like that and pointing the finger at everybody else, doing mushrooms helps to pave the way towards a brighter future on your healing journey. Like I said, it's going to help you and teach you ways to heal yourself, like open up paths that you didn't even realize existed that you can go down to actually help you solve your problems, process and release your emotions. And so you could just feel better. So you're not carrying around all of that trauma and being weighed down from every relationship you go to or every new job you go to or every new place you go to, because people try to run. You try to run away from your problems to someone new, to a new place, to a new this, but your problems are with you. They're like in a backpack on your back. And until you stop and unpack that backpack, you're just going to keep going with that heavy ass backpack. Like, damn, take it off. And unpack it so that you can have a lighter load so that you're going through life just feeling so much better and happier and just more free. So yeah, mushrooms and coaching or therapy definitely go hand in hand. Basically, you got to feel it to heal it. And mushrooms can show you and open you up to different healing modalities that you didn't even consider before. Because journaling and meditating and praying and going to therapy and creating were all healing modalities that people have used for so long to help heal their pain. But for some reason, they were just so scary for so many people to do. And then you do mushrooms, you're just like, maybe I will write down my emotions in this book. Maybe I will go on BetterHelp and sign up with a therapist and see what this therapy thing is all about. It's crazy. It's crazy that it's like these things are always here in front of us. But, mushrooms just kind of open your mind to be like, it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. Like, it's okay to feel your emotions. It's necessary. It's really necessary to face yourself and to feel your emotions so that you can heal them and process them and release them. So integrating your mushroom experience is just so necessary. It's so necessary. It's so important. And it's going to help you along your healing journey and honestly accelerate your healing journey. And you'll start feeling so much better way quicker than you thought. If you've been interested in microdosing mushrooms, but you don't know where to start and you want structure and support along your journey, check out my Higher Self Mastery program. It's an online video coaching course that covers microdosing mushrooms, holistic wellness, and upgrading your mindset. You'll also get access to the best microdosing products ever with a forever discount code, and I'll link all of that in the show notes. Also, if you're not, remember to follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Shally Way and send me a DM. Let's chit chat. If you have any questions or if you just want to talk, my DMs are open. I love talking to you guys. I know that mental and emotional health is not really talked about or prioritized in a lot of people's families and more so not in our culture, but sweeping your trauma and your pain under the rug for decades and not having any accountability and not doing any of that is not going to get you anywhere. It's honestly just going to keep you in a state of sadness and negativity and pain. Facing yourself and healing your pain takes strength, but it's so necessary if you want to live a life full of love, peace, and happiness. I know everyone's journey is different, but I have found that microdosing mushrooms and integrating your experience by doing traditional therapy or other healing modalities and just living a holistically healthier lifestyle over on to be so beneficial. Because when you heal the relationship that you have with yourself, it becomes a ripple effect and it heals the relationships you have with others. It just becomes a positive ripple into the world and into your circles and into your community. It's necessary. It's really necessary. And the happier that you are as a person and the more whole and grounded that you feel as a person, you're literally doing the world a service. You are really changing the world by changing and healing yourself. I know it doesn't seem like that, but it's so true because it starts with one. Because I went on my deep healing mushroom journey years ago, I'm able to sit here now and talk to you through this podcast, talk to you through social media, and tell you about all my different experiences and all the things I've learned and all the ways that I've helped my mind, my body, and my soul, all because I decided that I wanted to heal myself for myself. So do yourself a service and the world by feeling it to heal it. And I promise you, your life will be so much better. You will feel so much better and just everything around you will be better because it all starts with you. The way that you feel internally is literally projected around you. So the better that you feel inside, the better reality outside that you will be living in. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Psilly Talk podcast. We'll be back next week with another episode. Bye.